Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Ryan Kawa, and today we're doing some car photography. If you've seen any of the past videos, I've always kind of done it of, I literally just get my GoPro, stick that on, go out there, take pictures, and I take you guys along with me. But this time I kind of want to change things up, and I wanted to film it, and while I'm kind of, you guys can see while I'm filming things with the GoPro, I do want to have like a separate thing, and I'm gonna watch that footage along with you guys and kind of talk to you guys a little bit more about the photos that are being taken and the photos that I am showing you, so you guys have not only how I did it as a process, but you always get like, or you're going to get a little bit of a commentary over those pictures and like how I was thinking about it, what I'm kind of doing, what I liked about certain shots, what I didn't really like about certain shots, pros and cons, obstacles maybe that I had to go through. So I thought it'd be a lot more interesting and make it more fun for you guys. And I guess it's a little bit more fun for me. It's a little bit more work and whatever, but it's a lot more fun, I think, for you guys, and I think it's more beneficial to you guys here. So right now all I'm doing is I have my laptop right here. I have the video that I kind of cut up in Premiere, and I just kind of stuck it there, and really I'm just going to press play. I'm going to skip through things, pause things, and kind of stop at certain pictures and certain angles that I get, and we'll kind of pause and we'll talk about the images here and there. All right, right before we get started, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because it really does help me out. And if you want to see more content like this, then you know, it's a win-win for both of us, right? So anyways, let's just hop into the video and let's get this started, right? Okay, so we're all watching the video, playing our play button here. So this is all fine. So I think I should talk about like the premise of this video a little bit more. The whole thing like behind this was I was literally out trying to make like a street photography, another street photography video, and while I was kind of going out and taking pictures, I was kind of like, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it, wasn't taking as many pictures as I wanted to. I happened to be walking past this alley, and I said, oh, you know, there's a nice little, you guys can see it in the video, in the video, there's like this nice little like picture of the mountains. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. While I was walking down that alley, I kind of like walked in it, and I was like, oh my God, wait, that's a Ferrari over there. Wait, and actually, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait, it's actually in a perfect spot, like a perfect location. Like, you can easily see it's like the left and to the right, like there's like parking spots and like parking spaces, and like there's like the back alleys of like stores and stuff. I'm like, a lot of those places I'd be like, like maybe not the best place location wise to take a picture, but again, I like pulled up, I was walking through there, and I was like, oh my God, this Ferrari not only is beautiful, but it's actually in like a perfect location. So I had to stop, and I had to just sit there for like 10-15 minutes and just like take a bunch of pictures there. So again, that's the premise of this video. Let's keep on going. So it's a totally lucky thing that I kind of ran into this car and in a great location. So let's kind of continue with this. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is our first shot here. So this is a really cool shot. I like this shot because in order to get this shot, like it's the first shot that I saw, because I was walking up and I was kind of just behind the Ferrari, and I was like, well, typically a picture from the back, the rear, the ass of the car is always like a really nice shot of the car, and definitely it's something that people can tend not to look at. It's always like the front of the car, the certain front angles of the car. It's something that can be overlooked sometimes, and sometimes it's just a straight back of the car can just be perfect, and I think like that's what this is. This looks fantastic. I love that. Yeah. Shooting cars is always about there's about 8 basic shots you can shoot of a car. So one obviously is the front, the back of the car, the 2 sides of the car, and then you have your 4 corners of the car. That pretty much giving you 8 different shots to kind of take, and each one of those shots definitely does highlight different things of a car, and like they're like the 8 like basic shots and like angles that I realize that's 5. The 8 basic angles of shooting a car. So that's basically what this one is. This one looks great. I love it. I love the colors that like I chose there, and then also. Oops. I also decided to, because I was also thinking to myself, like recently as well, when I'm taking pictures, I'm always thinking, I think I found myself taking a lot more portrait photos instead of landscape photos, because I'm thinking like Instagram, and like when you take a picture like portrait wise, it definitely like it's just a different type of picture. You just see so much more of like up and down as opposed to like left and right? It's a portrait picture as opposed to a landscape picture. So it's definitely something that I see myself taking a lot more pictures of portraits, just because I'm thinking like, oh, this needs to go on like Instagram. So it's good that I went from a landscape picture, you know, took it wide like that, or in a landscape wise, and then also took it in a portrait, because having both of those angles is always great, and like seeing the entirety of a car like is always great. It's always good to see like the entirety of a car, and that's yeah. Okay, so this is another like great shot that I was kind of thinking about when I was there. I kind of like the way that it was placed. You can kind of see that there's like the kind of the edge of the building and that kind of patio, and then there's like a pole kind of there. And the first thing that I think to myself is, oh well, this leaves a frame for me to use, you know, and I can put the car inside that frame, and hopefully that I can it'll make it look better, or composing it better, right? So I go in there, and one of the first problem that I ran into is that like, oh, like dang, like I really wish I was a little bit higher up, because when you look at this picture, it cuts off just a little bit of the front grill of the car and a little bit of the front bumper of the car, and if I was just like a foot higher, I could have gotten the entirety of the front end of the car, and that would have definitely made this picture a lot better, I think. And looking at this now, this is always something that I was thinking when I was editing and putting this together. I said the trash can in the back needs to be taken out, but I decided not to take it out because it just was a matter of like being quick with this process, and it would have taken me just, I don't know, 15-20 minutes to like take that out, but it was just like a process. I was like, oh, this is gonna take a minute. I don't want to do this, and I gotta go move on to the next thing I gotta do here, you know. So I ended up not doing this, but anyways, I like the idea that I was able to create a frame with the post and with the patio there, giving you the angles, giving you the guiding lines to just point and look at this car. And again, those trash cans in the back, super distracting. Should have been taken out. That's my bad. But for you guys, take out distracting, bad trash cans, dumb things like that. Because when I look at this picture, it's one of the first things I look at. So don't take distracting things out. It's not good. It's not good. So when you're taking pictures of the car, right, one of the biggest things that like people landscape the whole entirety of the car. And while that's fantastic, you're getting all the elements of the car, it's always really nice to go to the small accents of the car, right? The small emblems, the small badges, because sometimes that these emblems, these badges actually mean quite a bit to the car owner. You know, it's what separates, you know, my top of the line car from the bottom of the line car, you know. And while they may look similar, you know, it's like, no, this badge means that I am significantly different than another car. Plenty of car brands do this. You can look them up. I know Mercedes, for one, does it a bunch in a lot of their cars. But anyways, looking towards the badge is one of the biggest things of a car, because it's a brand of the car. It's one of the biggest things of the car, and it gives a car its history, and it gives a lot of value of the car. So obviously, of this logo, this brand, it makes the photo a lot more. It just adds a little bit more character to it. Again, here, this is another photo. I was taking pictures of logos of Ferrari. Again, right, the brand, it makes a big difference. It adds a lot of value and character, again, to the car. And that's really important, because they're parts that car companies spend a lot of time on. And companies like Rolls-Royce, their Phantom of Ecstasy, I believe, that little hood ornament is really expensive, and they're handmade, and they can become very expensive. So all I'm saying is that, like, small things like badges, like tail lights, like headlights, you know, bumpers, exhausts, tires, all those small accents add up a lot to the car, and they're all really helpful when you're taking pictures of the car. All right. So this is always great. So right now I'm actually shooting on a 90mm macro, and because I'm shooting also on an A6400 Sony, my focal length is actually effectively 135. So it kind of explains. I was about to say, make sure you stand far back away from the subject. Take pictures like that. You can get more of where it is. But if you have like a really wide lens, obviously you're not gonna be able to do that, because you're gonna be seeing just so much of all this other noise and distraction. So because I'm shooting on pretty much a super telephoto length, that I can stand a lot further away from the car. It really compresses the background, makes it pretty neat. Yeah, okay, so this next photo, you know, again, see, so when I'm standing on top of this ledge, it's really great, because you know, it gives me that height, and I can look down at the car, and this brings another angle, another perspective to the car, which I think is really nice and neat. You know, again, this isn't my car, so I can't drive the car, I can't move the car, so where it is where it is, and you kind of just have to make do. So the first thing I said is like, okay, well, we're not the first thing, but when I saw that patio, it's like, okay, I can stand on that, and I can get a perspective looking down at the car, because oftentimes when I take pictures of cars, I don't have like a perspective looking down at the car, and it's looking down at something tends to be something, or an angle that people tend not to look at, right? It's either they look up at something, they look at a standing view at something, and only in some cases are you able to really look down at something, because you need, you know, height, and it's not always the easiest to get that height, as opposed to standing at level. You're always gonna be looking up, you're always looking at things eye level. So looking down at this car at this this front angle right here of the front part of the car, awesome looking shot. I really like this is a cool shot. I like this shot. Really gives me a piece of like the grill, like those highlights right there in the grill. That's really cool. And that headlight right there, super nice, super nice. I like that. Really like that shot. And this texture too. The texture with the asphalt in the back, all those cracks, I think that's really neat. Adds to the picture. All right, sick. But here's another thing. Okay, I like this picture too. This is a picture of the brakes. And I really like this picture because it had the word Ferrari on it, and I thought like, oh, well, here's Ferrari again. We want to make sure that we're getting the word Ferrari. You know, it's like, again, that brand name. It's the same thing as taking a logo, or the logos, the emblems, all those things on the car, right? It's pretty much the same thing, but this takes another part of the car, right? Because Ferrari has gone and said, hey, we're gonna get our logo and or our brand, and we're gonna kind of put it on this brake. We designed these are ours. You go in here and you can take pictures of these, right? Again, these are all different parts of the car that make it a Ferrari, all right? So, taking pictures of wherever these logos and emblems are on the car, wherever they try to take pictures of them, because of the really small things and like the really small details that brands or companies or anything that produces a product, when they put those small details in, those are the things that we tend not to notice but make the biggest difference. So taking pictures like these really accentuate and bring out, again, a lot more character of this car. Nice. Okay, so this is really cool. So this next picture here is this picture of the tail end of the Ferrari, and this isn't just right like the first shot that we took, right? It was just of this back end, or there was also another shot where we just took half of the car and half of the car, half of the back angle of that car. This adds just a little bit more of a different angle on things. I think it's not a bad picture. You might like it, you might not like it, but what this kind of does is allows for, there's obviously those 8 angles I talked about, very basic, but you know, add in more angles and it tends to make things just, you know, a little bit different. So again, I just want to bring you along for that process of me just kind of the way that I was looking at the car and the way that I think that shots might have looked cooler or cool. Okay, yeah, so here's this car again, right? It's kind of like the same angle that we just had, but I decided to take a landscape, right? Again, I have a bad habit of taking a lot of portraits, so I was thinking in my mind, landscapes. You got to make sure to get these landscapes, right? And the second thing that I was also doing in this picture that I don't know as much as you can, I don't know how much you can really, I don't know how apparent it is in the picture, but I'm actually shooting behind these. I think those are, I don't know, weeds of some sort. And that's not a cacti. It's a weed. I don't know what kind of weed. Maybe if you know your weeds, you can comment below and tell me what kind of weed that is. But well, my point being is that we're sitting behind things and we have something in the foreground. We have our subject, right, which is in the midground, and then we have a background, right, something in the back. And this makes, I think a lot of photographers will talk about this. Jared Polman makes a big point of this. He definitely talks about how this adds a lot of dynamic. Makes the picture a lot more dynamic, having that depth of field, understanding that there's something in the front that's out of focus, here's your subject that is in focus, and then you have the background that is not in focus. It makes your picture more dynamic, and it makes it more interesting than just a straight shot. If I didn't have that foreground, I think it definitely does make that image a lot more interesting. Okay, and this is the last and final shot here. I think I have a landscape and a portrait of it. I decided to take the landscape of this because this was ultimately what I saw, right? When I saw this car and I walked in and I was like, oh, like this is the shot. This is the one shot of this car that like has to be taken, because this is the one shot I think of all the pictures that I took. I think there's only like maybe 10 pictures or something, 10, 12 pictures or something. This is definitely my most favorite picture because it looks great. It's a basic angle, right? It's one of the 8 angles that we just spoke about. And all I did was I just put my camera literally on the floor, as you can see, right? And I just took the picture of the car, and it looks fantastic. Again, I was super lucky to have an amazing location that this car was just perfectly put into. So anyways, that is what we landed at. That was the last picture of this. Again, I think I was entirely super lucky to get a fantastic, a beautiful, amazing, awesome car like that, and then super lucky that it's in like a great location. Like how that's not I literally have to like drive around and walk around to find locations to put cars in, and so often that location can be a big factor of how your picture is ultimately going to feel and look at the end of the day. So it could easily been like a Ford Focus. Like if it was a Ford Focus, I would have been like, wow, that's a fantastic location, but it's a Ford Focus or Fiesta or the Camry. I mean, I don't know, maybe I might have even still taken the pictures just because I was like, yeah, this is a fantastic location, and again, the car was parked in the right spot for me to start like taking some of these pictures. So that's that. I think I'm gonna wrap this all up here, and I thank you guys for coming along for this kind of journey here. And if you guys made it towards this far, like, comment, subscribe, because it really does help me out. You know, and we gotta get back into some street photography. You know, I haven't posted anything for like a whole week, so gotta do that. And see you guys in the next one.